Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And it is time for the Mixed Greens blend of 2018. So we're going to get started and let's see what I've got going in my blend this year. And I'm going to give you some ideas of other things you can add to your Mixed Greens blend. Okay, so I have two jars. Where are they? Two jars here of nettle leaves, sting and nettle. Okay, this is all stuff from my garden. I have, let's see, that's the quart jars. I have 3 pint-sized jars of dandelion leaves. One of these is actually from 2017, and these two are from this year. This one's not sealed yet because this is the one I was, last one I was working on filling. I have 1 quart of marshmallow leaves and flowers I'm going to be putting in. I picked and dried a lot more than this, but much of it I want to save for my skin cream and my soaps, but I did want to make sure I got at least some of these into my Mixed Greens blend this year. I've got, this also is from 2016, still sealed. I've got a pint jar of plantain. I've got a pint jar of carrot tops. It's got a little bit of calendula in there too. I have 2 quart jars of grape leaves, again, one from 2017. I did actually get 2 for 2018, but I want to use the 2017 ones up since they were from last year. I'd missed them last year when I mixed it. And then, of course, this one, and then save the other jar in case I want them for something else. This jar, I never did quite get it full. I was so busy doing so much dehydrating. There was a lot of stuff I was having a hard time keeping up on, but these are strawberry leaves, raspberry leaves, and blackberry leaves. But I could have got a lot more. It was just time was an issue. Now, I did get more borage leaves. Here's a whole quart jar. However, this quart jar, though, I'd planned on putting it in the Mixed Greens blend because I have a couple of customers that are really liking the borage in the soap, some of my soaps. I'm going to be saving that for that. And I'm going to be putting this, what's left of this borage of 2016, into this year's blend. Okay, here I have some amaranth leaves. I have a video just about amaranth leaves and their benefits. And here I have a jar. This is mostly kale and red mustard, but it does still have a little bit of other things like lamb's quarter and probably a few other things that I'm not thinking of right now. Mostly the reason I like to separate these out and look at them like this is so I can get an idea of just what all is going in my blend and how much of each, and see if next year I can up the amount. Like, I would like to get more amaranth leaves, but they come in so late in the season for us that I just don't typically get a lot of them harvested because I'm usually in the middle of doing other stuff when they're ready to pick and dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open all these jars. I am going to dump them into my big bowl here. This is actually a punch bowl, but when I bought this, I got it because this is an Anchor brand, and if I can find it on Amazon, I'll link to it below. I got this because that was back when I was making kimchi the old-fashioned brine method way, and I like to make a huge batch, and this was the perfect size for me to make my kimchi. Okay, so in go the nettle leaves. I packed in there pretty good, quite a bit. So 2 quart jars of nettle leaves. All of that in there, and I'm just going to turn around and reuse these jars for packing the blend in. Oh, another thing I wanted to recommend was nasturtium leaves. I considered doing that this year, but I decided I want to hang on to the nasturtium leaves. I did have this jar full. You may have already seen my homemade antibiotic video. I'll go ahead and link to it right up here, but my personal one is using the nasturtium leaves, and so I used half that jar for that. And I'm going to save the rest in case, just in case I need to make more down the road and maybe next year I don't get enough nasturtium leaves. Okay, so in go the amaranth leaves, the little bit of borage leaves from 2016. I really thought I had more of these, but I've been using quite a bit up in my soaps. I do have more plantain that I picked this year and dried. I didn't do a lot this year, but I'm saving that for using in a salve. So this one is really tight. So this one's been sealed up for 2 years. Okay, and now for the marshmallow leaves and flowers. There's some flowers in here. And I've got lots of video about marshmallow and the benefits. I'll go ahead and link to one of those videos in the corner there. Okay, 1 jar of the grape leaves. Now one thing, if you saw, I did a video a couple years ago, I think it was, about grape leaves. This is what they do. They clump together and you can actually mold and shape them. They're really funny when you dehydrate them. That's just how they are. Okay, here's the jar 2 of grape leaves. Good tight seal on that one. Okay, my bowl is getting way too full. I think I have a lot more mixed greens this year than I thought I had. I was thinking I didn't have as much as I had last year. Okay, in this jar I hadn't sealed because this was the one I was adding to as I went. Well, folks, I don't think I can add any more and still be able to blend this, so I'm just going to go ahead and start blending it now, and I might have to get a second bowl. Okay, so now I'm moving on to a second bowl because this is a lot. So I'm going to see if I can take out a big chunk out of here and see if we can make this work, because I still got to get my dandelion leaves in here. So what is this? This is the all the berry leaf blend. I've got my carrot tops. Now let's get all these dandelion leaves in here. Okay, 1 more jar of dandelion leaves. 1 more pint. There we go. There's all of the greens all together. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish mixing these by hand, and then I'll show you how I put them in the jars. Okay, well, I got a bunch of this already jarred up, and I thought I would just, it took me a while to get it all mixed. I had to kind of go back and forth bowl to bowl because this is so much. But I got a bunch jarred up, and I just wanted to show you how I'm doing this. So I got my canning funnel over the jar, and of course, you know, it's not going to be me doing it unless I throw a bunch all over the counter in the process. And I just like to pack it in there, and then I'll take the funnel off and really push it down in there as hard as I can, because I want to get as much into these jars as possible so that I'm saving as much space as possible. Okay, and you don't want it, when you're doing this, you know, though you may want to pack it tight, you also don't want it pressed up too high. I mean, think of it as just as if you're pressure canning or anything. You don't want it to go up past this. So even when you're dry packing it like I'm doing here, you still want to leave some headspace. So I'm going to put a lid, one of these lids back on there, put the food saver top and my brake bleeder, and then I'm just going to pump that up past 15. Make sure you press and hold that in there. I do have a video showing, you know, more descriptive, showing how I do this, but it's pretty simple. You can find the link to the brake bleeder below and the food saver tops. I will link to a kit that has the wide mouth and the regular mouth. And this is how I vacuum seal all my dry ingredients. And I like to put the band on there, and now you can see it still says, you know, kale and red mustard, and I want to change that, so I'm simply going to spray a little bit of rubbing alcohol or isopropyl alcohol, spread it around with my finger, and wipe it off. It's that easy, and that was permanent marker. And then once it's dry, I'm going to let it dry a little bit longer. I have one here that's blank. Then I'm going to go ahead and write on there my mixed greens, well, not my, but mixed greens. They are mine though. 2018. And there we have it. And then I have enough here to fill up another jar most of the way. But I'm going to back up here and show you what I've got done. Okay, so right here I have 7 quart jars packed full of my mixed greens blend. This is more than enough to last us through the whole year. And then I'll still have this Plus I have a bunch left over from last year, so that means I can really start doubling up on my uses of the mixed greens. Now those of you who are new to my channel may be wondering, what do you do with all this? Well, it gets added to just about every meal that I make. If I'm making any kind of gravy, it goes in the gravy. Any kind of sauce, it goes in the sauce. It doesn't matter if it's a white gravy for, like, say, biscuits and gravy. It doesn't matter if it's an Italian sauce. It doesn't matter if it's a Mexican sauce like I'd like to use for enchiladas. I put it in my soups. I put it in casseroles. You know, especially anything that's going to have somewhat of a liquid to it so that it can sit in the liquid and also cook and rehydrate. But I also use it in making my multivitamin, multi-mineral extract, and you can find a video on that right up here. So all these ways of using this are just a great way of getting all the vitamins and minerals and other nutrients that are in your mixed greens, all these different greens, you know, the kale, the nettle, the amaranth, all of that, into your diet on a daily basis, especially when you don't have these things growing fresh in your garden through the winter. So that's when I really like to double up on and getting as much of these mixed greens. Oh yes, I also add them to, I almost forgot, I also add them to meatballs, to my breakfast sausages, to my meatloafs, anything that I can put it in. You cannot taste it unless you overdo it. If you put too much in there, you'll notice a difference in flavor. But most of the time you can put a pretty good handful of your mixed greens blend into just about any meal and not even notice they're in there. So especially for those people who have a problem with, you know, eating, you know, the flavor of kale or anything like that. Usually once your vegetables, these kind of greens, are dehydrated, the flavor is far more subdued anyway, and then it's broken up so small and then hidden in these things that you really don't even notice it. So it's a really great way to get all these things into your diet, into your family's diet, especially for those who don't like their greens, don't like their veggies, even if that's you. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Mixed Greens 2018. I wonder what next year has to hold for us. And I also hope that you learned something new. Thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.